Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander Tactical. Now recently I've been testing out this Molle Battle Belt from Core Essentials. If you're after a new rig, then you really should pay attention to this. So let's take a closer look. Now to be clear, this is a two-piece belt system. If you're not used to these and you're used to, I guess what you'd call a traditional belt, the way in which these work is you have an inner belt and you have an outer belt. Some of this, some of you may already know, so you just have to bear with me while we kind of cover this sort of stuff. A lot of battle belts, when you're donning and doffing them, if you have things like these pouches on there, you have to uncouple the pouches to take them off. So this works with a very simple system. It's a tried and tested system that's been used for a long time now. Where you have an inner belt. The inner belt will pass through your belt loops, and it is then held in place with hook and loop. So we have hook and loop all the way around this inner belt. Now the inner belt on the inside is made from this really tough webbing, and then you have this really nice hook and loop on the outside. There's additional details on here, the fact that you also have some reinforcing on the stitching on the outside, which does also, and I will say this also makes this very nice and more comfortable to wear. I've had a few of these where it's just the plain old webbing just kind of at the top with the stitching on top of that. They don't necessarily stick in, but after a day of bending over and kind of climbing in through windows and just doing the stupid sort of stuff that you do when you're wearing these sort of belts, it just kind of digs in a little bit, or you can just feel where it's worn. Whereas with this, it does definitely feel and fit a lot better. Then on the end here, you also have some additional webbing, and then you can see you have this hex cut through there. It does give it, now it's not a massive amount of give, but it just gives it a slight amount of give, maybe a millimeter or two, so that when you're getting this into place, it's very simple and easy to do. Now I will put this on in a second, so we will have a look at that. But when you get this, so it's not, or let me take a step back. This is a one-size-fits-all solution. So when you get it, it will be most probably, for the vast majority of people watching this, too big. And that's because of its one-size-fits-all. So you'll get one of these measuring tapes. Make sure you're wearing, I'd say probably your heaviest pants, mainly for the fact that you still can, if you make it so that it's too large, if needs be, you can cut it down an extra little bit. Whereas if you make it and it's too small, then it's not difficult to do. Mrs. Moorlander helped me with this, and it goes out to a maximum of 48 inches. So you put this round you, you'll be able to see on here where it ends. So I'm a 36-inch waist, and I did mine to 36 inches, and that's where I cut it. So you do have to cut this with a sharp knife. It's very easy to do. And then what you also get is you get one of these ends. So once it's been cut, to stop it fraying and looking horrible over some time, you have one of these pinch. It's kind of a metal tab, so you put it over the end, give it a good pinch. I actually got a ball peen hammer and just give it a bit of a tap on there, so that keeps that in place. So that's the inner belt. You then also have the outer belt. So again, kind of for the novices, if you are new to these, because we have the hook, or at least we have the loop on the inner belt, you can then attach this to the inner belt on the outside, and this goes over the loops so that it fits everything on here. That way, again, you don't have to keep taking off your holster and any mag pouches or anything like that you have on here. Now this is exactly the same, so this is a one-size-fits-all solution, and when you get it, again, it will probably be too big for the vast majority of us unless you have like a 50-inch waist. And you'll do exactly the same with this. So whatever the measurement was that you cut with the inner belt, you'll then cut the same measurement with the outer belt. Once you've cut that, this is where you can then affix the actual belt buckle that you'll have with this. Now, I suppose taking a step back as far as the buckles are concerned, there's a large selection of buckles that you can choose from. These are all made from solid steel metal. These are incredibly rigid. They're incredibly heavy as well, which is actually really quite nice, although when it's on, you certainly don't feel as though you're carrying around this huge piece of metal. But it passes into, so there is a female section within the buckle here that the male belt pushes up into, and then on the inside here there's like a little lever. So you lever that up and there's teeth in there, and the teeth will come in and it will grip the belt, and then you have 2 screws that you just need to screw in, which will then hold the belt fast. You get some additional screws with this just in case you lose them, or you're swapping out buckles all of the time. Personally, I'm a fix it once and leave it kind of guy. The belts themselves, they're available in a lot of different colours, so if you really wanted to, you could pick up a few of these and run a few different systems with it. There's also lots of different options as far as the buckle as well, whether you want it. Some of them look almost like a cobra buckle. Some of them look like this with the hex pattern on here. But the way in which the buckles work is on the inside of the belt, you'll see it has these ratchet holes. And this is really the magic sauce in this whole system, because when it's on, you push your belt in, and hopefully if you can, in fact I'll just do this off camera for a second. You'll hear that ratcheting. So you put your belt on and then you lock it in like that, and it really does lock it into place. How I was saying earlier, it's better to maybe cut it long to start off with, is that in here you have roughly about, say, 4 maybe 5 inches worth of teeth. If you have some of the other belts, you'll notice that the teeth go a lot further down there, but you're still cutting it kind of to the size that you want it to be anyway. But with this is just, maybe with this one you have to just be a little bit more careful to make sure. But I will say that when you use the that white tape that's now behind me that I keep pointing at, when you use that to get your measurements, it's really good. Where was I? Yeah, so like I was saying, the fitting on this is absolutely amazing. The fact that you wear one set of pants that maybe sit a little bit higher, where you're a little bit thinner. You wear a different set of pants where maybe you kind of, they sit a little bit lower on your waist. You have that extra just little bit of adjustment. Now, things like cobra buckles are great, but when you try to undo a cobra buckle, you have to kind of do this, and anyway, it's not particularly difficult. But with this, it's a split-second thing just to be able to give that a pinch and to be able to open it out. Now, they all come with a fastener. What I will say is, when you have this on your, when it's attached to the inner belt, you can't slide this along because it does have, why am I doing this now? It does have some hook and loop on the inside, which is great because it stops it from moving along. But rather than it being a closed loop, it has a hook and loop on there so that you can then fasten over that. Again, it's a small detail, but a lot of the time when these come out and it's just flapping all over the place and it gets in the way, and you're trying to get your hand down and you're bringing your hand forward with a magazine on there and it gets caught on there and you're just like, oh. Anyway, first world dilemmas. That's a nice little solution. Round the outside, and I'm going to bring this round here so that you can see, because I already have some things attached to this. Hopefully you'll be able to see. You then have some Powell's webbing or some kind of a Molle attachment system on the outside. This is just great at the end of the day, because when you're trying to attach pouches and stuff like that to it, it just makes sure that they are fastened on there. I will say that this is more of a traditional style Molle, so rather than having laser cut, which you'll see on a lot of belts nowadays, this has good old-fashioned webbing on there, and when it is stitched on there, you can see the stitching on here. I'll add some photos so you can see better. This is easily quadruple stitched to make sure it's on there good and fast, but you have them all, is it 1.5 inches wide, so that you can get pretty much anything that you need to have on here. On the side, so because I am a righty, on my right hand side I have my Deadly Customs Kydex holster on there, which is attached with a Safariland drop leg adapter. Fits in there perfectly. I will say, because this belt is a lot more rigid and a little bit more thicker than some other belts, it does have a bit of a bump. However, I will definitely point out though that when this is on you, you don't notice that at all. You don't. In fact, it like most other belts, because of the rigidity of these, it kind of feels like you've got a hula hoop around you. But this slight bump on the inside there, yeah, definitely doesn't feel it. Now on the left hand side, there are some additional options that you can pick up from Core Essentials. Actually, let's just put this down for a second, because I'll come back to this one in a second. What I have got here are, they were good enough to send me some of the additional pouches that you can get. So you can get a single rifle magazine pouch, you can also get a single pistol magazine pouch. I've tried 2 or 3 different 9mm pistol styles in here, and they all fit fine. I've also put in my Mark 23 pistol magazine in here, it fit in fine as well. You do have to give it a little bit more of a push because they are larger magazines, but it will still fit in there perfectly. These are made from a mil-spec nylon. They also have the inner lips in there, which I think are great, because some of these you can get where they don't have these kind of plastic lips on the inside. So getting your magazine, or at least being able to push your magazine in there, is a lot easier if you're trying to quickly reload. I have a dump pouch that I run on the back, which I haven't got on this for now, just because it's easier to try and kind of do a demonstration like this. But being able to get your magazines in there at a pinch quickly is very simple. With the rifle magazine, this is a single rifle magazine as well. Hopefully you'll be able to see down the sides there. This also has those plastic guide lips on there as well, so being able to sit or being able to seat your magazine in here is a whole lot easier as well. On the inside, which I've seen on a few of them now, which I think, if people aren't doing this, really they should be doing this. So on the inside you also have some hook and loop. You're not really ever going to hook and loop anything into this, but what it does mean is when your magazine seats in, it gives it a little bit of friction, so it just, you know, it just kind of it cushions it. But then if you want to make sure that you get it just right, now this is designed for 5.56. Give it a bit of a pull on the bottom. You have some bungee system on the bottom, and it will just make sure that that is all then just really kind of hugs it. On the back, it's connected with some malice clips. These things are, yeah, these things are great. There's nothing, well, I mean, there's nothing more fun than a wrestle with your clips when you're trying to get it onto things. Yeah, you know, that kind of thing. So I ran these originally on my belt, and they're great. They definitely don't come off, but when you want to take them off, you know, it's good fun, and just make sure the kids aren't around. Now what I actually ran this weekend was something slightly different and something that I've not come across before, and that is one of these Kiwi pouches. So the way in which the Kiwi pouch works is, it's exactly, well, pretty similar to those, but you've got 2 pistol magazines and a rifle magazine next to each other. This is also made from a mil-spec nylon. The connections on the back, these also connect with malice clips as well, which I'm looking forward to trying to take these off and having a bit of a switch around. But then on the inside, you have these plastic parts, and what these will do, these also aid in gripping your magazines. So when you push that in there, it's got a really nice kind of lock. It kind of goes in and it clicks. Everybody loves a click. Same with the same with the rifle magazines. You push this in and there's a bit of resistance when you push it in. You can feel it kind of push down on your waist. But when it's in there fast. But you want to take it out, you can lift it straight upwards and it will come straight out. I'm trying to do this at an angle, which is never easy. But these kiwi pouches are really nice. I need to look into these a little bit more, just for that kind of, you've got the modularity of being able to have everything on there, but it's always just at hand. Sometimes your pouches can move around, not so much with this one, mainly because this has the Molle sections on there, so they'll always be in the same place. But yeah, really do like these kiwi pouches. They have these in several different colours as well. You can do that with all of this system. You can get exactly the colours that you want that will match whatever setup you have as well. Now let's have a look at what it looks like when you're trying to put this on. So here is the inner belt. You pass it through exactly as you would do a normal belt, and that is through all of your belt loops. Because these are reasonably rigid, it's actually quite easy to be able to get them through. Difficulty is just being a weirdo like me and not being able to get them in there. Anyway, right, so all the way through. Now, as I mentioned, you will need to have made sure that you check this beforehand with the measurements that you get. The bit with the metal tab on it that closes the end off, pull it just a little bit. Give the other end just a little bit of a pull, and that will make sure that it is on there nice and fast. You can take the other one off actually. It's strange. I had this on for the afternoon and I forgot that I took the outside of it off, and yeah, it just fits. If you wanted to, I guess you could pass it underneath here, but it's a bit of a pain to do that because of the hook and loop. But yeah, you've got that on and it's on nice and fast. Then you have the outer belt. So as mentioned, so this has a button here at the top. You need to pinch this and this will then open the teeth so that you can open this out. Then all you have to do is just make sure that you connect it on the back, or at least this is how I do it. I guess this is how everybody does it. It's on the back, and then check that it's roughly in the middle at the front. If it's not roughly in the middle at the front, you can just kind of move it around a little bit just to make sure that it's about right. Certainly not difficult to do, but just make sure that you've lined up all of that hook and loop all the way around the outside. You can then pass it through and then just give it an extra pinch. Undo my little tab there, make sure I've got that on, make sure that my come on Moorlander, drop leg is on, and there you go. So as I mentioned, the only thing really to get wrong with this is just kind of mixing or not getting the hook and loop between the lower belt and the upper belt misaligned. But once you've done it a few times and get used to it, you'll find that you can get it on really quickly. But now I have instant access to my magazines here on my hip. And my pistol. The Molle Battle Belt does everything that you need it to do, and from a distance it really does look like every other battle belt, and I mean that with the greatest respect. It's when you get close and you look at the details on this is where you can see that it does stand alone and separately from all of the others. Yes, it's got the Molle on the outside so you can attach stuff to it. The inner belt setup is ever so slightly different, but I have found that it's a lot easier to be able to get on and off, or at least not necessarily on and off, but just kind of on that sweet spot so it's just right. What makes this stand frankly miles apart from others comes down to the buckle, the ratchet system within it, and just those ultra fine 1/4 of an inch details. whether you're wearing some kind of very heavy pants, whether you're wearing some lighter ones, whether you've just dropped a loaf and maybe you've, I don't know, lost a few inches whilst in the toilet, then you know you can just pinch it in, or you can just push it in, or on the flip side you can press the button to open. Now it's not opening out because I've got it all fastened up. That would have been perfect if you could have heard that little ratcheting noise. But you can press the button, you can let it out again. I think Core Essentials and the whole kind of ethos that they've created, or environment, no, still the wrong word, but you know what I mean, what they've created around this buckle and being able to have those micro adjustments really do help their belts to stand out against a lot of the competition that's out there. Very, very impressed with this. I've run a few games with this now, 3 or 4 games with this now. And yeah, it's kind of one to beat. Now I do have a few belts like this that are all subtly different. So I think what I might do is might do a bit of a comparison piece. It won't be a this is better than this one, because I don't really like to do that sort of stuff. But maybe a this is different and this is different. These are the pros and these are the cons, that kind of thing. But yes, now, but before I finish though, I do want to say a huge shout out to Carl from Core Essentials for sending this my way. I've made several pieces of content with Carl in the past. In fact, I'm wearing, can you see it? It's just off camera. I'm wearing one of their Core Essentials. This is one of their Garrison belts, and I've made one on their EDC belts. So I'll leave some links here or here. I made that content on Moorlander EDC, my sister channel. But of course, I will leave all of Core Essentials links below so that you can see more from them. I'll leave some of their social media links as well, and some of my social media links here on Moorlander Tactical, and my sister's channel, Moorlander EDC. That was a train going past. You might not be able to hear that. Anyway, I'll just carry on. So yes, for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay tactical. Now, to be clear, this is a 2-piece belt system. So when you get this, God, we really are all over the place today. Come on. Hi, I'm the Moorlander, and this is Moorlander Tactical. If you're in the realm of from Core Essentials, and this is definitely something that you should keep in mind. So let's do. We do have a train that goes past. It's about a mile away, but it's incredible how much over the valley the sound carries. You probably couldn't hear the train, which is why I mentioned it anyway. Let's do the other bit. I think this is going out today, Friday. I think it's a Friday. Hope you're all having a good day. Yeah, you know. Cool. See you soon. Love you. Bye.